All right, I'll give it back. I'll bring it back. Just give me a few minutes. You don't need the extra room. Just give me a few minutes. I'll be right. I'll be done in a second. Gosh. That's what happens when you live in your car. Oh. Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. Well, it's really happening. It's going down right now. I have got so much news to share with you and things that are being hidden. Now, just so you know, there may be a guy down the street missing his room edition, but it's okay. I told him I'd bring it right back. I've got a few stories about what Nickelodeon just did, about what's going on with the CPI data and how nobody believes it. Man, let's just lift this up. This is just... Oh. And then I got a big story for you, and it's so big, I needed to take someone's entire room edition to cover it, and that is that the dollar is collapsing and 7 key indicators of why it's collapsing, all right? So I don't even know where to start. Oh, I know where to start. I linked a video down below, a video that I told people I was going to come out with, and nobody believed it was going to come, but now it's here. And so I've linked it down below if you want to go see something, and it's the first of many, and the reason why some people watch the Ninja. Here we go, stories out of Zero Hedge. The dollar is collapsing, 7 key indicators that you can't ignore. Indicator number 1, the federal budget deficits. It says, it is important to note that the projections have the ridiculous assumption that there will be no wars, recessions, or other events that cause extra federal spending. Even with this rosy and unrealistic forecast, the U.S. government is projected to have a cumulative deficit of over $22 trillion over the next 10 years, which will have to be financed by issuing more debt. I used to talk about videos where they're printing $1 trillion in 100 days. They just printed $500 billion in like the last 3 weeks. This is insane. Indicator number 2, the federal debt. The federal debt has exceeded $35 trillion, representing more than 123% of GDP. And just so you know, that is not just another Kenny Loggins song. It is the danger zone. Now that I got that in your head. It's important to remember that GDP is a flawed statistic. For example, it counts government spending as a positive. You know, like all of those empty warehouses that they're building right now so that TSMC can come over and build chips as China almost is about to take over Taiwan. It says in the U.S. government, spending accounts for at least 37% of GDP. So that means all of the wars, they're taking your tax dollars and shipping them overseas so they can fight proxy wars and try and start World War III. That's what they're doing. Type 1 if that pisses you off, that you don't want to fund other countries' wars. I'd be typing it right with you. Give me a second. Ninja needs some coffee. All right. Says here, this means that the debt relative to This means that the debt relative to the productive economy supporting it is much higher than most people realize. Indicator number 3, the federal interest expense. Annualized interest on the federal debt now exceeded $1 trillion for the first time this year and is shooting higher. If you're new to this channel, the Ninja is a weirdo. Don't listen to his financial advice. He doesn't give financial advice. He lives in his car. He has notes out of cardboard. And he's about to introduce something that is extremely scary. Talk about clickbait. Indicator number 4. The federal funds rate. In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, the Fed brought interest rates to roughly 0% and held them there for years. Then in late 2015, they started a rate hiking cycle that lasted until the repo market turmoil in late 2019. Actually, that's not correct, Mr. Author. They actually lowered that. They stopped the rate hiking cycle in December of was it 18? And it was because the president at the time was screaming and yelling that the Fed wanted to crash the markets. I talk about it a lot. Indicator number 5, the money supply. The skyrocketing interest expense forces the Fed to implement interest cost control policies, which inflate the money supply. These include buying treasuries with money the Fed creates out of thin air and similar measures. No matter what the Fed calls it, it's the only way they can try to control interest costs is to inflate the money supply. And that brings us, nope, not yet, to our favorite one, but almost. Indicator number 6. Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is mostly politically manipulated statistic in all of the government. That is saying something because many government statistics are completely manipulated, but inflation measured by CPI is probably the most manipulated. I don't want to go into this much because I'm about to go into it in a second. Last but not least, our favorite, type gold if you agree. Indicator number 7. The gold price. The gold is mankind's most enduring form of money for over 5,000 years because of unique characteristics that makes it best suited for the store and exchange of value. Gold is durable, divisible, consistent, convenient, scarce, and most importantly, the hardest of all physical commodities. That makes gold an excellent store of value and gives the yellow metal its superior monetary properties. Ninja, why would I want to buy gold? You were talking about that when you started the channel. It was stupid then. It's stupid now. Are you sad that you didn't buy gold? I'm totally sad. Sucks. That's right, because it's going up in dollar terms. Yes, I talk like a child. Next, I made a promise the other day that I wouldn't call anybody names anymore. And I'm going to hold that promise. And I need you to help me hold that promise. I didn't expect to make that promise. That just came out of me. But we're going to talk about, this just happened on Nickelodeon. Look, Nickelodeon has just decided that the kids' choice for presidential their election poll is this person. Look at that. The kids have spoken. It wasn't the producers. It wasn't the network execs. It was the kids. The kids chose this. See, look at that. I mean, see, this is why I can't call anybody a name for their decisions if they are morally wrong or confused. They're just like a bunch of wild chickens. Just wild chickens, just like, oh. That's it. All right, so we're going to talk about some more economics. And again, I want to remind you that there is a video link down below of something I promised I'd do. And people are like, no way, he's not going to do it. Oh, I did it. What do I know? I live in my car. All right, let's do this. We're going. Here we go. CPI. This is something that's really important on a lot of Americans' minds. And I was actually talking to a very intelligent young man the other day that is he's not in the financial space in the media, but he is really into investing, right? Real estate and all kinds of stuff. And we were talking about some of the secrets behind Wall Street's tricks to manipulate people and inflation and stuff like that. And what he didn't understand at first, and we were talking about the rising of the stock markets. And I said, you see the numbers going up and you think that's exciting. Excuse me. But it's nothing compared to what's going on with other things that are inflating, like the cost of food or the cost of your rent or the cost of insurance, right? And I brought him to a chart of the Venezuelan stock market that went up like 4x during their time of inflation. And it was really exciting. And he's like, wow, I can't believe it went up that much. I'm like, well, that's what happens during a hyperinflation. The stock market always goes up, but it never goes up enough. It always underperforms gold. And see, that's one thing that people are about to witness. And they waited too long, because what's happening right now is gold and silver are already outperforming the indexes, especially the S&P. And the S&P is what everyone's been talking about. Yeah, it started going up, but now gold's about to go right past it. Now, that's not financial advice. You would never want to take financial advice from a guy that has notes on cardboard and lives in his car. But it's why I bought it. And that's just based off of history. You see, most people don't understand history. And if they don't understand history, then they're doomed to repeat history. Because history and the future are just based on human emotions, cycles, the moon and the sun and water being pulled from your body. I know it sounds crazy, but there is some physics to it and some science to it. But this is why I knew that the real estate market was going to crash. And it's already started, and get ready. It's going to get a lot better. It's so good. But I mean, what do I know? I just put in an offer on a property that's fallen 33% in just the last 6 months. But hey, what do I know? I mean, it's like next to Mark Zuckerberg's place. What does Zuck know? Oh, no, he knows how to be manipulated by the president. Other topics. We're going to go back to the CPI. It says why nobody believes the data. Surging prices of everyday items are excluded from the CPI. See, the government is lying to you, and they're lying through omission. It says for starters, CPI excludes several significant costs faced by households today, ranging from property taxes to soaring interest payments. Property taxes. Boy, am I about to take advantage of that. While price levels remain notably higher than before the pandemic, according to the CPI, inflation has slowed, reaching it's reaching a 2.4% increase. So it's actually still going up. Even the lying numbers, they're still going up. But don't worry, Bidenomics is working great. Type 2 if you think that's a complete lie. Like, people are like, oh crap, what do I push? Is that like I agree? Is that I don't agree? Type 2 if you agree that Bidenomics is a complete failure and a lie. I'm not being mean. I'm just calling it out. The CPI is capturing the goods and services that you purchase for consumption, but there are things that affect the cost of living that are outside of that. It says here, for instance, interest charges on rising consumer debt are largely absent from the CPI. Roughly $628 billion in revolving credit now bears an average interest rate of about 22%. Yet those costs aren't reflected in the consumer price data. Says another gap in the CPI is its exclusion of property-related expenses. While it measures the cost of personal property insurance, it overlooks the cost of insuring the physical home. What? A critical oversight as climate-related risks drive premiums higher. Oh yeah, that's right. That's another lie. Climate change. We're going into an ice age. Do people understand that? Actually, I have the serious question here. Do you realize that we go through these 400-year cycles of ice ages and then a warming cycle? Does anyone know that? Type yes or no if you would. And the thing is right before a change, right? Just like it always gets darkest before the dawn. It's true. It's a scientific fact. When the sun is about to come and crest, it actually gets darker in the night. Darker because the moon's moving past its cycle, right? So what happens is it's the darkest, and it actually is like that in our lives too when things are going to crap in a handbasket. And you could always look back 10 years later and go, that ended up being the best time in my life because it flushed out a bunch of bad things, or it made me aware of a bunch of things that I wasn't aware of, and I had this moment of enlightenment and think my life exploded at that point, right? We always go through cycles, right? So the day cycles, our life cycles. I mean, think about the Black Plague. I mean, that was pretty bad, pretty rough time, right? But then what happened after that? It gave birth to the Renaissance era. A lot of people died, and then all of a sudden, awesomeness, right? It's almost like what's about to happen next week. But sorry, I digress. My point being is that there's cycles to everything. There's the cycle in real estate is, in my opinion, the best one ever, and it's going to be the easiest one for all of you to grow wealth. I was on a conference call yesterday with a lot of people talking about that. And to be honest with you, I couldn't help myself. I was talking so fast and so excited because of a new way to get people to invest and make a crap ton of money. And in the reality is 95% of real estate professionals don't do it or don't know how to do it. And the time is now because it's going to explode this next spring. And those kind of things get me excited, and it should get you excited too. Check this out. And this is really important for anyone that's new. They probably already clicked off because they saw me, talking to a rubber chicken and to cardboard notes, but it's important. Say I'm out of debt or getting out of debt if you started that process while you're watching this channel. Say I bought gold or silver if you did that because this channel. It's not because of the Economic Ninja, right? There's nothing really that fancy about me. However, but it's because all of a sudden you got around a group of people that you started to see as you're listening to the videos, you're reading the comments, you start to see that these feelings you had inside, oh yeah, the government's not here to save me, right? I started to realize, like, getting red pilled. I woke up, and maybe through a little bit of comedy, but also through reading other people's stories, things started to change in your life and you started doing something different. How many of you have started a side hustle? Put that down below. since you started. I run into people all the time that have gotten out of debt. They've started a side business. And I remember this young woman and her husband, they met me in Dallas. We had like 200 people show up for a meetup, and they stood up and they said, we started a side hustle after you started talking about the importance of it. And our first year we made $60,000 like in your side hustle. That's amazing. And that's what we want. We want people that are strong-willed, strong-minded, but at the same time humble enough to realize that they don't know everything. Trust me, I don't. I screw up all the time. Probably saw it the other day. And that are willing to fight for a better life for their family and their country. And so I'm about to show you in a couple of weeks a cycle that is not a lot of people understand. And I want you ready for it because it hits in the spring and it's going to be really big. And it's going to be a few years of opportunity, but it starts in earnest in the spring. It's actually already started, but it really is going to explode in the spring. And I like bringing people to understanding and knowledge well before it happens, because it takes a mature person to be able to see. This is where the nuggets come in at the end of my videos. Just, you're seeing this live, you just popped on, but reality, if I put up a posted video, the real information comes in the end. It takes a mature person to close this and open this and take in information that might sound a little crazy, especially like when house prices are skyrocketing high and there's a guy saying, no, they're actually crashing and they're only going up in front of your eyes because sales are imploding. They're just going to nothing, and inventory is going to increase. And there's just this really small group of people that don't know what they're doing. They're buying up real estate in fear. It's the exact same thing that happened in 2006, the beginning of 2007. And if you'll just wait, you're about to be stoked. Now, the other day, I was in a backup position. I found out yesterday I fell out. The people got it, which was good because I prayed about it. And I said, I don't want to wish any ill harm on somebody, like they fall out of escrow so I could buy a place. But it's a place that my wife has wanted for years. And she got upset because I said, no, we're going to wait and I'm going to buy it for 35% less. And I called the date of December of this year. And we were backup position for 33% drop. And I'm okay with it because I even said, as we were possibly going to get into escrow on this, I said, I'm buying this just like I bought a house in 2005. And I told my wife, it's going to fall by half. And it did. And I was still okay with it because I started an incredible business at that property. And this one was going to serve a very personal purpose and a good purpose for our minds and our lives as well. And I'd be okay with it, buying it at a 33% discount or 32, knowing it's going to fall another 50%. I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people, but this is when you start to build wealth and have a wealthy mindset. You walk away from a poverty mindset and you don't give a crap about things that were holding you back financially. And that's what I want to teach people, to be just very chill about your approach to certain aspects of finance, to certain aspects of the economy and the government that are coming, because bad things are coming. But when you can breathe, take a step back and look and get that bigger picture, you realize you've got a lot of time. I don't want to embarrass anyone, so I won't say who it was, but there was a gentleman, I ran a special, and I only wanted to wake up some people and help them out with their new business. And tomorrow I'm going to film a course that last week I sold pre-discount. To all of my students, I gave them a deal for $1 for, 24 or 48 hours. I don't remember what it was. And Dylan was sending out the emails for $1 for a course that is going to cost me, I don't know how much it's going to cost me. Editing, production, and all that stuff. And I've got a couple lawyers helping me. It's a pretty good clip, but it was a gateway into helping you start other things like a business, right? And then it went up to $10, and then that was for like, 72 hours, and then went to $20. And the normal price is $100, which is 1/4 of what you'd spend on 1 hour's time with an attorney telling you all this stuff, which he won't even tell you. He'll just overcharge you to start an LLC. Somebody emailed and said, hey, you sent me an email that says $1, and I got charged 10. I'd like a refund. So Dylan calls me and goes, hey, what do I do? I said, refund him the $10. He goes, okay. I said, and remove him from the course. What? And then I said, and tell him, I'm sorry, but this is not for you. You will never be successful. Because first, you didn't read the instructions. And number two, you're stepping over dollars looking for dimes. You see, we all need to be in a different mode in life. When you hang out with a wealthy person, a truly wealthy person that has been through hard times, that has struggled, really worked hard, and gotten to where he or she is, it's a totally different conversation over coffee when you're talking about, they want to talk more about mentality than, see, poor people want a stock tip, or they want just tell me what to do to make money, I'll go do it. Where a wealthy person would rather tell you how to change your mentality, because that's the most important part. Type 10 if you agree with that. And type 11 if you don't understand that. And the reason why I say that is because we have to break out of a poverty mentality. It's a big deal. And I take my instruction very serious. Where I'm on this channel, and I'm not here to sell you a course. I will later. That's the truth. That's what I do now for a living. I'm very lucky to. I was held back from teaching firefighters and building a national fire academy for my fire career, and I love teaching. I just love to inspire people. I love watching people get wealthy in front of me and know that, I was able to give them some pointers and tips. I love that. It's like when I first started this channel, I started, really helping other people build their voice on YouTube and build channels, because nobody's ever helped me. I wish somebody, a big channel, go, hey man, let me have you on and give you some kudos. I've never had that. Actually, I did. I had it once. Nick Johnson actually had me on. That was really nice of him. He's a cool guy. And, and then people started to take advantage of that, but my point being is, I want to change your mentality. I want to change your thought process. If I change your thought process, you're going to be wealthy. But then what's really cool, when you get wealthy, you're going to know what you're supposed to do with it. And that's the more important part. It's not for impressing some douchebag. That's not an insult. It's just a sum. I'm not calling a certain person, but that douchebag down the street that you want to impress that doesn't even respect you. Why drive the Ferrari in front of him? It's not going to matter. If you want to have a Ferrari, it's because you really want to go fast really quick, and you love rebuilding the top end every 9,000 miles. You love throwing money away. If you like burning money, you're going to want a Ferrari. Trust me, I had that problem too. I'm going to go with a Lamborghini now. Point being is, I want you to change your mentality. Man, I hope you got something out of this. The video that I told everyone I was going to make, and I've got a handful of them coming out, just, it's down below. It's linked down below. It'll be in the comment sections at the top line of the description. If you want to see it, I have made a lot of predictions, and I've done them in a special way, sometimes with a crazy chicken. But I did it for a reason, because I wanted to wake up a certain type of person that looked past my looks, my appearance, my vocabulary, my inability to read, all that stuff, and look at the heart. If I got your heart, the right people's heart, we're going to be able to make a change. That's truth. So I'll tell you what, last thing before I go, say, I'm ready to make a change. If you're ready to change your mentality and move from a poverty mindset, and just, I was a multimillionaire and still had a poverty mindset. I must start talking about that more and more in the next year, 2025, because a lot of people are about to go into serious poverty. And I know we can help them by changing their mindset. I was a multimillionaire with a horrible poverty mindset, and it's just been getting slowly broken. And you're going to be able to learn from me as I teach you, as I'm moving out of it and what I'm experiencing in real time. So it doesn't matter how much you make. If you have the wrong mindset, it's holding you back from making or being so much more than you are right now. It's weird how my videos go from serious to comedy, or comedy to serious. I guess the ninjas just got a lot of faces. I got to work on some of those, just like all of us. Hope you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out.